the other two. So we'll see. That's just kind of what it feels like in theory. With the Rays in the mix, though, for Zoe again, just hoping the showstoppers land a little bit. I think that's part of it. But, you know, we'll see how things go as we break on into map number 2.
Yeah, Oranges was definitely their number one op when it came down to the showstoppers. But yeah, again, I think the big thing for those of you at home, if you're not familiar with the history here for Teddy Tactics and the role swap, is that Kestrel, although being an insane duelist player, doesn't really have the Yoru in their pool. And that's why you have that kind of change coming in here with Oranges being the ones to be a bit more comfortable on that agent. But right off the gate, we're looking at this push over towards not actually B, but to get Arya immediately inserted into this insane alert positioning right off the gate as the rest of the team looks to contact up.
And you can see, though, yeah, Nora is watching just because they know that someone had made the move in towards B. The sensor drone doesn't see anything. And now it's just down to what route does Arya pick and what timing do they find. You hear the swap up the weapons. There's one opportunity for a second, but that's job done, you would think, for Arya. Stepping away, back to the dark cover. Trade should be here. Hello. Nora a little sloppy with the classic shots, but it works. Meanwhile, over towards the backside as here comes a long pinch. Everyone is flashed behind Mound, but holding on the Mound itself is Teddy Tactics. But the defense is back on to C here. It's just down to who chases down who first. Nora's on. The smoke is in. Salvos are through. Nora gets it to halfway. Orange is only on 9 HP. Nora gets tagged heavy. Spam shots aren't landing, and Nora will secure the defuse and actually catch Oranges on the exit. Cal will get the final 2, but the round goes to Evolution.
Hitting that to half was the most important part of the puzzle there for Nora, being able to get that as the salvos are going down and making it even possible to get that defuse off a bit more comfortably. But this is a nice start here for Evolution. They're on the back foot after losing out on the map pick of Teddy Tactics. Being able to secure this pistol round is at least starting off on the right foot here on Lotus.
Wow. Not the way I saw that round going with Arya getting around the backside that quickly. Ooh, suppression onto Zoe. Able to stay alive. Gate crash pushing forward, but Zoe connects. Teddy Tactics will be held at C Mound. You've got Logic playing kind of around their own toxic screen at A. Perfect timing. Thank you, Obs. And Evolution are just going to kind of hang around the backside of B and A, just kind of using their weapon advantage.
Yeah, right now, just trying to see if they can make the most of that lurk wall over towards the A site since they've already crossed over at Rubble. Then Arya kind of being the one to make a lot of noise and draw some of those eyes away from A, where we're seeing Teddy Tactics focus a bit more on that ult cycling, considering how close Cal Sushi is to getting that on for that third round.
Hold the phone here. We've got to approach the retreat. Flash out. Hits Cloud. Shots, though, are not clean for Cal.
Spike down A.
Nova's seen one on the cross. Kestrel still connecting. Will also get into sight. Opportunity for at least a post plant. Stinger picked up from Logic. Flash out for Kestrel. No one home. This toxic screen is going to fall, and as it does, Logic has to make a decision. Is there someone go up the ropes? Not going to get up there, though.
Timing.
Yeah, it's just not ideal. Kestrel would have to get it all done themselves. Opportunity for it. Catches 4, but the double swing is good enough to save the round for Evolution.
It's still a great 4K for Kestrel to pick up there as well. We were talking about that cycling that was being done to get that Armageddon online. Now that Rolling Thunder not too far away either. And it makes it really expensive there for Evolution. They're only able to carry one weapon now into this next round, going to be the Outlaw. And for Teddy Tactics, you've got to be happy with that as an eco. It's the next best thing that you're going to get outside of winning the round itself. You got that plant down. You got 4 players out of the picture.
I'll take down the Viper.
Well, this bonus is an Outlaw, a Stinger, and some pistols. So Evolution has done the job through the first 2. Now it's going to be on what kind of clean response, if any, will there be here on the bonus. First blood good for Oranges. going to create some early advantages over at A. Toxic creates a different place here for TDY Tactics down C. Alt line is going to come through. Is there a site here? And there is. Nova drops. And surely the spike will... Well, that's got options. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Right now, I mean, it's just maybe a little bit of damage that Gabby's looking to do. Not even really going to have that opportunity with a flawless round here coming out from TDY Tactics. Just about kind of what you expect considering what Evolution had to work with when it came down to weaponry going into that round. So can't really fault them for that whatsoever. Now into this one, you've got that showstopper that we had talked about online. Zoe was, you know, putting out good numbers over on Sunset. Got kind of unlucky with a couple of those ultimates as well. And now you think about, okay, what's the game plan here to try and set that Raze up for a little bit more of that success? TDY Tactics, they're looking for like this heavy push over towards speed too.
Well, it's just one of those things. I like the idea of using early utility. Oh, you're done, Nora.
Yeah, that's it. Good night.
Yeah, the suppression that comes through is part of it, but the ability to stun up that location is so critical. And so it's going to be a post plant setup, 5v3 early. Gabby, no, nothing there, and you have to save now if you're Evolution. That's just a very quick take from TDY Tactics. And again, I was about to say, like, I like the idea of just getting some information onto B. Because after that round one where you had Arya teleport through B, like, it just causes Evolution to have to pay some respect to it. So the fact that you, again, create this opportunity with the Armageddon is great news, obviously, for Teddy's offensive efforts through mid.
I think it's also just, like, the general awareness. Even though it's not a mirror composition, it's a mirror in the sense that they're running, you know, the double controller, no sentinel, which is a great look here on Lotus. There's a reason why that was like extremely meta, especially at the beginning of the introduction of this map into the competitive pool when it had first come out. We often saw those like usually Viper Omen compositions because of the a main control that you can get because with the toxic screen and whatnot, whether on defense or on the attack with the lurk wall as well. But it also just leaves some of those gaps too that you have to be a lot more cognizant of on the defensive side when it comes down to the positioning and the information that you're trying to gather while you play the push and pull.
There. Well, opportunity here for Teddy to throw out an early advantage with full weapons, which is something that, again, just if you missed the first map, we said that when they get full purchase, they look good. So, can they continue that trend here is the big question. Nice opening push. Wow, that is bold and a great shot on the logic. Now, to be fair, that's your lurker. Dimensional Drift through mid's going to call out 2. So, you should take your numbers advantage immediately to A. You know there's one push through C mound. You've got focus end towards pillars. You've got a weapon advantage. Can Nora step up and find one? Tags are through. Kill is in. Should be a post plant.
Yeah, relatively comfortable here for TDY Tactics. I'm curious to see. We do have Heaven Control for oranges playing with that Bucky up close. It's going to be really hard for Gabby to even get around this corner. Shouldn't be able to net a kill. The rest coming in on the flank.
Well, any effort after that first blood seems to have gone a little bit astray. And really, all things told, losing logic, like you mentioned, is just not the end of the world, right? Like, it's just a lurk, so. Can you find any exits? Looks like you're going to save the Phantom, but Zoe's going to get stunned. What? A little comedic relief there in that Marshall v. Shotgun battle, but Cloudsy, ooh, yes, just barely gets away. But still, major advantages here for TDY Tactics. They've got the Rolling Thunder at the ready. You do have a showstopper on the flip side, plus the Viper's Pit, which can be big. And it just comes down to where Nora wants to use it.
Yeah, but you've also got the Rolling Thunder too, right? So that could also be a nice counter if they want to fight into that Viper's Pit, if it does come down to that, or even just try to fight even into the like heavy stack side over towards A here as well. So I'm interested to see how this ends up going out. We're looking at like a very aggressive set play already for EVO to try and take this rebel control.
Well, that's utility that just does not really make much of a difference to TD Tactics. They're just looking for a peek, and they get the information that they want. So you get a flash and the paint shells out of that. Gate crash just to, again, keep the defense interested while the focus goes back to Logic's direction. And again, I would be more than happy, to see a check here from EVO just to see if they have any information on what's happening at mid. And yeah, they're going to get the information they want.
Well, flash reclearing too, just trying to draw as much attention as possible over towards this B site as they try and walk in on C.
Well, they also have to think about this Armageddon is it slows down this rotation just a little bit. So Gabby, right at the precipice of coming through this waterfall position. Poison Cloud gets placed late for Logic to try to replace that dark cover that's about to fade. Showstopper is out. In the court.
Oh!
No! Can't happen! No, you looked left as they wait to get that opening first one. You don't pull the trigger, but the aftershock comes through. Rolling Thunder has to be used maybe earlier than you'd like. And you don't get the pick on the Gabby. Not even the second attempt. The ruse is down. Gabby's not done for 4. And that's one way to kind of save what was initially a pretty mid retake from the backside of the site.
Again, Gabby had been such a hero on Sunset for Evolution, seeing a repeat in that performance here as well with how consistently this player has been in the server. Little missteps, but that's a massive round to be picking out for Evolution. Sure, you invest into that showstopper, you invest into that Armageddon, but you also managed to pull the Rolling Thunder out of TD Tactics into the post plant. You're cycling up into even more ults now of your own with that Rolling Thunder in Cloudsy coming in. You still have that Viper's Pit, and even that the Clove ults come in here too. So more tools at the disposal here for Evolution. I think what I would like to see is, okay, they're fighting for it.
Well, here we go. Rolling Thunder out for the defense. EVO.
Oh, the flash.
Flashed. Aftershock there, but the first blood is still good. Follow-up kills, though. Keeping its numbers advantage for Teddy. They're not able to get into sight yet. The biggest thing, the problem is Nova is stuck, and or are they? Sneaks away. Flash doesn't hit on the Gabby. Just able to sneak away, plus also get the pick-me-up. So, opportunity to change things around a little bit in this 3v3.
Being able to plant for tree here as well. A little bit of chip damage to be done by that snake, but we still got the fault line available here for Kestrel. Salvos have been cycled back up for the post plant here as well. It's just all up to Kestrel to buy that time here on site.
Gabby brought back into the action. Nora for one. Oh, and just dancing with it with the pick me up, that little estrial form. And that's great news there for Evolution to get the retake, take the edge now back, and at least force some of this financial kind of breakup to get a little bit more level.
That's for sure. I think what's really nice is for Evolution, their retakes look really good, and I think that's the adjustment that we saw from them as well, right? The earlier rounds that they had been losing, they were heavily contesting a lot of that site control, and it seems like they find their groove much more when they play a bit further back and play like that heavy aggression over towards A main. Most typically is where they found that success in keeping that space.
Okay, well, the opening battle just rages on at C. And with the kills that come through, again, numbers advantage starts to build. So Gabby's going to once again have to be tested. Hold on. Viper's Pit out early. Is this enough to keep the post? I don't love this Viper's Pit, I'm not going to lie to you, but Logic finds elimination, and now it makes re-entering to the site difficult, at least from Waterfall side.
Yeah, I think it just more so used as a tool to allow for the rest of the team to cross there, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Hold on, no one's watching. We cannot just let Arya stand there with the paranoia in hand. It's supposed to be off of somebody's contact, and everybody had left her to dry.
What do we do? What? No! It's just this can't happen. Now you've got salvos. You have the Armageddon. And just can you kill enough time? And it looks like they have.
Shut up and let
But
me work.
It's off.
oh, it's right, son of a gun. I swear I've commentated Valorant once or twice. But it's just like, that can't happen. And now you're starting to see almost like a turning of the tables here, where Evolution's the one punishing Teddy's mistakes here in map 2.
I just don't really understand what was happening in that play. You have two players playing over towards Bend. Arya is supposedly playing paranoia off of somebody's contact. Nobody's watching that cross, and the three players on site were meant to buy enough time where if everything did go wrong, Cal Sushi could use the salvos and the Armageddon to save that round, but that full investment to go in and not to be able to find anything from it is definitely a difficult sight to see. But maybe there was some sort. I see that we're paused right now, unless that's just me, Shift. You let me know.
I see we're paused as well, so.
Okay. Maybe it was like a little bit of a tech issue coming in there then, like a little bit of a keyboard DC, because Arya is a very cerebral player. Those aren't mistakes that I would be expecting her to make in those situations. But that it was an insane retake coming out from Evolution. Again, every single round that they've been able to find, all 5 of them have been in those retakes. But no, it's actually going to be a little timeout for Teddy Tactics. Maybe the comms just got a little bit crazy there for
That's a valid shout, though. Very valid shout.
It's just tough to swallow around like that.
No, it really is. I mean, again, like, how are we not watching Waterfall? Like, very odd. Like, that's just one of those things that just can't happen. But you own the mistake, you come back into the next round.
Yeah, we'll take a moment to take a breather and do a little bit of reset.
Breaking the timing of the utility now is Teddy Tactics getting aggressive into a main.
Cutting through.
Orb collected. Oranges can get to work with the dimensional drift. And why not? I mean, you've got a lot of space to work with. You're already clearing out A. The dimensional drift will watch for any rotations through B and also see if anyone's over on the backside. And yep, you got 2 for. Ooh, we're gonna fight this? Whoa, we're gonna fight this. And why not? If you have the intel, Arya's gonna get both. And
nice
this
swing.
round's already over.
Cover going out.
Really nicely played there. I think that what I like is this read coming out from Teddy Tactics. It's a great timeout that we have to keep in mind. I feel like I could be wrong, but my guess would be that Teddy Tactics managed to get that read on how Evolution were playing for that map control. And it's whenever Teddy Tactics is throwing that lurk wall over towards that A site, that's when we usually see Evolution actually trying to fight for that rubble control and deny value from that lurk toxic screen that gets thrown down. So, and they've noticed that every time that they throw it over on C, typically then that's when you see Cloudsy and Zoe and Nova usually moving over towards that C site and then playing aggressively for that mound control instead. And so they have the lurk wall over towards that C site, and they know, okay, that should be pulling 203 players over at C. They should be playing A a little bit weaker, and instead of going for that typical default when we throw that wall down with the lurker, we're gonna go and contest that space instead and make that play to fight for that a bit more aggressively, and it works out really well.
Alrighty. Critical round coming up here. Armageddon at the Ready Vipers pit at the Ready for Evolution with only a couple of rounds to play. You would think that you would use one of those here.
All missiles away.
Most of them may just pull a late Viper's pit. No, not going to happen. I mean, the teleport into C is committed to. And we're sitting here like, wait, this is wide open? You could scale deep here if you're Teddy Tactics. And I would like to see them get up to that dark cover. If you can delete the stealth drone, it doesn't even get all the way there. Now you can maybe even hit a little bit of a flash hit. Yeah, Norges is thinking about it. There's the blind side. Zoe's hit, dealt with. And now the Armageddon becomes difficult to call because where do you use it? Where do you spend it? Waterfall's gone. You have to re-clear over towards main. This is a tough ask right now if you're Evolution on this retake, but you don't want to give up the round.
There's still opportunity to try and break back in at the very least. It's getting... especially when you're walking into smokes like that, Shift.
What are we talking about? There's no way they do this again. Armageddon clears out most of main. Logic in a position trying to fight off the push through, but it's not going to work out. There's a salvo. Not again! But the spike diffuser gets taken down, and Kalsushi finds the final win. I was about to say, you lose this round if you're TD Tactics. You've lost composure.
I just bought a little bit more of that time. That's part of, I guess, the backside control that we saw being held there on the side of TD Tactics, just to buy more time for those main players to be able to play into that post plan, run down that clock. But it definitely gets more than dicey as we look to tie things up here 5-5. And now you look at the ultimate economy, not too much that we can expect. Norabora has been holding on to that ice plate for a while. Gonna finally see that thrown down. Yeah. But again, we can see the conditioning that's been done. TD Tactics, they did have that read about how Evolution tend to stack over towards wherever that lurk wall goes up. But it's a bit of a different story this time with the contact approach towards, well, not contact anymore with that stealth drone going in, but a nice tuck coming out from Norabora to deny that information. Evolution have full map control right now.
Yeah, they do. But you expect that with Viper's pit out. The only thing is if Arya finds his pick at mid, but no.
I saw the shoulder. You know the presence is real. On an island right now, Cloudsy on site. Nobody going to be available to help. It depends on the route that TD Tactics want to take, though. 35 seconds on the clock. Got that tree door opened, and great delay with that fault line.
30 seconds left.
Where are we going, guys?
Yeah,
soon.
Sure do. Wow, going through small to B would be bold. Flash out, Nova's in trouble. Here's the footsteps, calls it out. Yeah, good first. And the timing here is not going to be advantageous to get into sight cleanly. Unless Spectral pops off, but no, not going to happen. So, it'll be 6-5 with 1 to play. Cash is going to be fine for the side of Teddy. Not so much from the side of Evolution, so...
Last round before the switch.
We'll see how things unfold here.
I think that was just a really great micro call coming out from Nova there to be able to throw down those salvos, fully deny that opportunity to try and get that plant down as soon as they exit Little Door. And now, for TD Tactics, that was just time being the enemy for themselves. On this last round, though, we do have that Rolling Thunder available. Expectation to try and cycle that Armageddon up here for Kalsushi as well. And again, every time you see that lurk wall going up, you know you're going to have Cloudsy and Zoe over on that side of the map.
Well, you got pressure all over the map right now if you're Teddy. Gabby's going to hold their ground at C, but that's just a little bit of a lurk, and the spike will be planted at B while all this is happening. But again, it's just everyone is all over the map.
Yeah, I like
and
this.
I just don't know if you expect Kestrel to be there. I don't know if you expect Arya to be there. And no, both kills will come through. And you've gotten a look at Nora.
Got a crossfire going on.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
First,
sure.
But it's just the time's going to be the issue here. Logic, just keep your life. Wait, Nora gets one inside the site. Now it's just down to Kestrel. Logic on 2 HP. Shuts everything down, and that was another showstopper that Zoe can't get pulled on, and it's a 6-6 half. Decent bounce back for Teddy there in the 3 of the last 4.
I mean, Nora was putting in work and trying to re-clear that A space for the rotation towards B, but it was a really nice post-plant setup that we saw coming out from Teddy Tactics with the crossfires that were being held. And it feels like a lot of these rounds are coming down to those kind of fine margins, a lot of those micro moments, as opposed to the macro reads on the map and how that turns the tide in these fights with the util that's being thrown out and just general small positioning changes. And as we swap sides, just that very heavy lean here. Evolution looking to take a swift piece of control over at C Mound. Farming up into that Armageddon as expected here for the Tejo. But again, I think what's really important, Teddy Tactics. They look to disrupt, expect this low wall. Great snake bite to buy time.
Yeah, really is. Evolution looking like they want to try to reform up and try to give an effort at least over towards C. Gabby just holding over towards mid. The problem with this A approach is going to be, yes, you've got your own toxic screen, but the defensive one is going to make life a little bit hard in terms of getting past the door entry.
Yeah, you also have really great lines for that breach to throw that util with the Tejo too.
Yes, you do. Which, they are ready to go. They're queuing it up. Salvo at the ready. Oranges with the ghost. Show force there. Nora in trouble. Good first blood. And you're going to read as soon as these walls go down. No one else is here. So now you're going to quickly rotate over Paranoid, trying to slow this down just a touch. Also the dark cover in the site is going to allow Arya to hang a little while longer with waterfall crossfire setups. Cloudsy looking for a plant right on top of the site. Here comes the peak. Logic able to save a life. Arya looking for the right click. Whoa, little Goomba stomp over Cloudsy's. 3v2. Post plant largely has to stay on top of the site. One good salvo could be critical. Overheal for Gabby. Catches one on the cross. 2v2. Shots to the banister. Holding back Teddy Tactics. Now they get their salvo. You gotta spend it. You gotta go. Or just clears out the first corner. Double setup right here. Pistol barrel shown. Right click is good for one. Gabby gets the other for 4. And EVO take the pistol.
Really nicely played there by Evolution. Off of Gabby's contact. You see those salvos go out. It's all just about buying time and not giving Teddy Tactics that opportunity to break back into that site. But both these teams, I think, you know, they're playing they've both played defense the way that you're expecting to, the way that you want to see that toxic screen that's getting thrown on that attack denied, and as far as like any of that value, because you're trying to disrespect the space that it takes by just getting a bit more of that forward positioning. But it's going to be a lot more difficult for Oranges to try and contest that space now, being onto this eco round. And Evolution, they have spared no expensive. It's if they can manage to carry over all of these weapons into a bonus, it would look really nice from them with the investment into the Bulldogs and 2 Guardians.
Well, got tech pause here. Excuse me. I think the thing here is, like, looking at the compositions, the bonus that you have with the Clove is your ability to still smoke post-death, which could be huge for getting post-plants together. I think it's just down to, like, how much of that smoke you have to use just to get into sight. And if you can get value out of the toxic screen to find entry, find good execute, then the Clove gets immensely more valuable. But I don't know. It's just, I haven't seen enough, I think, from the Rays to feel like a double blast pack entry with a toxic screen and a flash is going to do enough damage. So it's like, I don't know. Like, it's like 6 of one, half a dozen of another. Like, compositionally, things make sense, but execution-wise, it may not have been as convincing as I would like to have seen to this point. So that's kind of where I'm stuck on right now.
I think it can be a bit hard to say. I feel like with the difficulty on Lotus as well is just when you are playing that push and pull, and so much of it does rely on that util usage from the initiators. And then if you have that raise on your side with the paint shells as well, is how much you're willing to invest into that early round, especially if they aren't some of those rechargeables. How much do you want to telegraph that presence with how quick the rotations can be for, especially I think the attackers at times, but the defenders too, with it being a 3-site map. It's just that different look compared to Haven because of the breakable door, because of the rotating doors as well.
Yeah.
That kind of help with some of like that presence faking when you go to look to trigger them and whatnot. And I think that even though we saw the read coming out from Teddy Tactics, it was also like pretty kind of late, I want to say, into their attacking side too. They did eventually get the grasp of, okay, every time we throw up that lurk wall, you know that both the Rays and the Tejo are going to be present on that side of the map, but they didn't really get that full read until like, I think like round 9 it was in that first half. So there's also like that adjustment is trying to like get used to like the conditioning, putting all of the pieces of that puzzle together.
Very true.
Curious though to see how we continue to handle, I guess, defense for the side of Teddy Tactics. Right now, it seems like they do have like the idea of how they want to manage that A main control. Again, I think the big name in the game against these double controller compositions is trying to take away as much impact from the Viper lurk as possible. And even if it's not a lurk, just the ability to deny any space that you're kind of giving up for free and not contesting. And that also meaning like you on the defense are being starved of some of that information as well, right? And I think both these teams have done really well as far as playing into that the way that they should be.
Well, not sure what's going on here. This has been a pretty long one. Player disconnected, apparently we're hearing. We're getting them reconnected now. So, that's the frame up. Let's take a look to see what are the results in the other games. Why did my voice just get so high? Things we don't know. Let's take a look.
You're just getting excited for the other matches. All good.
Meow took a 2-0 win versus KB. Aussie and Friends did 2-0 YFPX. That's pretty critical. Ghost Gaming, well, pardon me, that was from last week. YFPX 2-0'd Fisher. Ghost Gaming lost at a map 3 to Aussie and Friends. So Aussie and Friends also qualify with Wada Wada.
Let's go.
Or
I'm not
Wada
gonna
Wada.
lie. I thought you were just saying meow, and I did not realize it was the cat face team
The
name
cat
that you're
face,
talking
yeah,
about.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hello. Goodbye. Trying for a little bit of a surprise peek. Doesn't really work out. Logic on the other side by himself now. And, well, they are in trouble. It's a dance with death. Well, still catches one. It's not terrible, but this is just about trying to punish the upcoming bonus as much as possible.
Yeah, that's for certain. And then even just like opportunities to try and cycle up into these alt orbs either way. Expectation is going to be, I would not be surprised to see at the very least Kyle Sushi trying to go for some sort of picks. Trying to at least get a little bit into that ultimate tank, whether it's through a death or taking a death, whatever it may be.
Yeah. Well, one shot will land, but no, 3 will survive here for Evolution. Up 2 with a chance to go into a bonus with Guardians and a Bulldog. Not the worst case scenario ever, especially considering you can just put some SMGs behind that if you want to. But no, they're going to put a Vandal behind that. And another Bulldog, so... Or there's chain to the Bulldog. Wow, this is a potent bonus. They're putting a lot of money into this one.
I mean,
full purchase, obviously, for Teddy, though, so we'll see what they can do to match.
They should be able to buy up into the next round, even if they net a loss here, too, though. That's part of the I guess, perk of when you do have your lurkers sticking on that pistol, right? Just so you ensure you don't give that weapon away if they're carrying something a little bit heavier duty. A quick util trade back and forth from both the Teos, the salvos to go through, trying to deny that rubble control, but it's been a clean cross so far, and a very lucky spray coming out from Zoe to take out oranges. This is very much so weakened this A site, but Teddy Tactics, they still hold steady.
Right there.
Aware of the fact that, at least on Sunset, Evolution were big fans of running like these very spread out default rounds. even if they do look to telegraph it, that does not guarantee that they will be hitting that site.
Yeah. Well, they're going to stack up and look to make a play here at A. A lot of it actually going to, well, they're going to show force at tree and then hold a little bit here.
I think it's an end towards B. Yeah, breaking the door. You've got that B main control.
Think about this is you can still contest this crossfire angle with the Teddy tactics. Plant could be trying to commit to. We got to figure out what we're going to do if you're Evolution in terms of post plant here, because we're still a little bit stuck. There's the counterintelligence and the ability to try to throw in things like the paranoia. You get one with the salvo after shot to clear the close corner. How do you get yourself back in? You've got both flashes for Kestrel still. Arya with the pressure on flank. Out the door, sees one in the cross corner. Don't have to fight this if you don't want to. First flashes are right. Both flashes have been used to Kestrel. They don't really find much value. Decent idea to crunch on this, but I just don't think the utility from that top mid corner really landed the way it was intended to.
I think that's great calling coming out from the side of Evolution. They managed to take their bonus in stride. That pivot over towards the B site with Gabby being inserted over in B main for honestly a hot minute. It just listening and calling that the rotations were being made over at A. And then it was a great idea. The fault line for Teddy Tactics paired with those salvos manages to take down Cloudsy after getting that spike initiated. And from there, it was just a plethora of post-plant utility. Hard to push through. The cycling of those smokes with the poison orb too. Just waiting. If they know that oranges like to push up every single round towards trouble. This is not what you want to see though from the
controllers. No, it is not. Yeah, Teddy's in trouble here big time, especially considering the purchase, obviously, but
taking some risks in that regard. Evolution, they're still waiting a beat. They're expecting maybe some defensive-sided aggression to come through, maybe another risk play to come in from Teddy Tactics. But the biggest thing is having everyone regroup so nobody gets like kind of picked off for free. No one hands over any of those rifles.
Whoa! Whoa! Run away! Run away!
Little game of peekaboo.
Yeah,
Ain't no thing.
Now here we go.
30 seconds left.
And you win a battle here at Waterfall. If you can do it cleanly.
Oh, nice run.
Chance for weapons to be collected. Counter flash comes through. Yeah, Zoe, make sure that Gabby's back into the play, and the last player left will be Oranges with the Bucky. Good luck.
Should probably get one. Aside from that, there's not too much you can do. She picks up the Vandal. Doing one to the Outlaw. Really double digits here for the side of Evolution. Ever since we swapped sides, they've looked really nice on attack. Evolution, 4 rounds in a row for them since we swapped sides. So much of that coming from comfortable bonus round coming in from them as well. This is where we gotta have our eyes back on Teddy Tactics, right? You've got Armageddon back up. Ultimates are starting to cycle through here on the side of Teddy Tactics. But again, the showstopper, something that we've always kept our eyes out on from Zoe. I haven't seen the success that we've wanted to from it. That has mattered too immensely here on Lotus at the very least.
Toxin screen down.
Patience, the name of the game right now for Evolution. Whereas for Teddy, you're double stacking C. The pings for the offense over towards A are good, knowing that Arya could be here. Getting a one and done would be incredible for Arya. The stealth drone doesn't see it. Oh, maybe an opportunity to try to teleport back away. Armageddon right there. Oh, the Armageddon's in such a good spot. That is such a good exit. Arya really doesn't take much damage either. You know, the defense is going to feel really comfortable about what they have at A. They're going to start to reinvest over towards mid and C.
Yeah, so making so much noise over towards the C site as well. Not expecting the double swing to come in. Okay.
Yeah, that's another one for Zoe that you just look at and say, what in the world? Oh, no.
30 seconds left.
Duelist gameplay has been a problem.
It's just with the showstoppers, though. It's like everything else has been good, but the showstoppers just have not been hitting. It's one of those days. But corralled now into a flawless round to come through here from Teddy Tactics. So much of that play kind of relied on the success that Zoe would have, whether it was even just staying alive in that moment, but drawing the eyes over towards that C site. So the other couple of members of Evolution could get inserted either towards A or B. It all kind of falls apart from there, but finally stopped the bleeding here on the side of Teddy Tactics, right?
Yeah, and I think the thing about it is, like, you have a couple of ultimates that should be round guaranteers. Like, there's not really an ability for Evolution to do much to deter things like dimensional drift. It just comes down to the rounds where you don't have ults. Can you battle up against what has been a very cohesive offensive approach for Evolution, really stretching the map nicely? Early smoke usage here from Arya just to try to get some C mound control and push a little bit of pressure over to A. And I think it's one of those things, like, if Oranges or Kestrel can get intel that this is a pretty heavy commit towards A, you might be able to walk down C a little bit more, but instead it's just going to be a little bit of a corner pixel peek here, replace the one way, and just let this defense hold with the 4-1-1 or pardon me, the 3-1-1 split up that you have.
And you're just keeping Zoe kind of inserted over here as well. I think that's the interesting part, is that a lot of kind of the plays that we've seen from Evolution have relied on Zoe kind of being that last piece of presence when the rest of the team is rotating onto the other side of the map. But now telegraphing the C presence. You see rotation to be called here from Teddy Tactics. The Armageddon is up. All of a sudden, Bend is looking super dangerous here for Arya to stand.
Arya's just going to walk away with the paranoia.
Oh, wait, that TP is huge.
That is a brilliant usage of the teleport with the paranoia as well.
Okay, we're feeling a little too bold now.
Yeah, that's a little bit of too much. That's a heat check right there. See what you can get away with. But that is a brilliant piece of Omen tech.
Oh, this wrap timing here for Oranges could be everything. They just don't know that Norabor is still staying over towards Mound.
But you can keep Logic watching it. Oh, the timing of the battle. Off touch. The win for Logic, though. And now you've got the stun follow-up from Oranges, which is good. Gabby, the last one standing. The last Bastion 1v3.
Been hard to count them out.
Flash. Secondary one through. Line up. Almost. There was a world in there. But
I
Gabby
saw
will
it.
Stop at 3. I saw it as well. But that's a big round for Teddy.
It really is. A great adjustment coming in from them. It's such a heroic play coming out from Arya on top of that. I guess maybe the teleport, the second one, was like, okay, there's 15 seconds left. Sure, let me just try and buy as much time as possible. Maybe a little too bold, but they get it done, and that's all that really matters at the end of the day. And now you've got, you know, a bunch of ults that you get to work with. Great dimensional drift for some of that scouting here for Oranges. That Viper's Pit to cut off a site if so desired on Teddy Tactics as well, or even saving it into a retake to make that post plan a bit more uncomfortable to hold. Excuse me.
Well, Zoe's going to walk past that salvo.
I mean, Teddy Tactics, they've been giving a bit more respect, I feel like, to these aiming pushes after Oranges was consistently getting, like, shut down on those aggressive positions.
Yeah, I agree with that. Oh, that's such a cheeky ability for the decoy to kind of almost self-shoulder peek. Mental drift is out. Self-run was with that. Good read on the small door play. Logic is going to be in some trouble, though. Paint shell's also out. Oranges will gate crash back to safety. Not feeling good about opening up some space through small. Arya crossing corner. Tough gunfights. First blood good for EVO. Logic in some trouble as the shorty, also going to be concussed as the Rolling Thunder cuts to the backside of the site. Cal still able to find one, but
scrappy.
It's just one of those that you just don't win the gunfights you need to if you're Teddy.
I mean, B is also such a small site as well, right? The close quarters, when you have breach util being layered on top of more breach util from the other side, and Evolution, they managed to get that 11th round on the board now. Teddy Tactics. The ideas were there for a moment, but in the chaos, Evolution come out on top.
That's a big round. On the flip side, for Evolution now, I mean, you shut down the dimensional drifts. Yeah, Teddy needs to talk about this. I mean, everything about how that was starting to come together looked really positive for Teddy. It's just the gunfights just aren't won inside of sight. I think it's just, again, credit to Evolution. In the face of dimensional drift, you force the gate crash to have to come through, and more importantly, Logic just does not ever really get their feet underneath them. Like, you're just always moving around. You're always jittery. The snake bite pushes you further back than you'd like. The rolling thunder cuts on the other side. The flank from Arya doesn't work. Like, it's just all these little things just don't quite go your way. And that's, I think, a large part due to the fact that Evolution have some good breakdowns over the backside of the site. It's really well put together.
Yeah, that unfortunately that round I think really did fall on Arya's shoulders to be able to get at least one with that B main position, and unfortunately just doesn't come together there. But this timeout to be called, it's a bit of a conversation of how they want to handle things, because again, I think it is important for them to look to contest that space over towards A. We saw the respect that was being given after Oranges was being shut down, but then the difference there too is that there wasn't really support for Oranges on those forward positions. Yes, you get them inserted because they do have the ability to get crashed back with the TP for the Yoru, but then it's not like you have anyone kind of like shoulder checking to see like on the deeper angle. It's kind of like, okay, well, if the Evolution just kind of walk up as 3 here, there isn't much you can do. And I think they're really good at being able to take this Rebel control right off the gate with these satchels over. I like this.
I do too.
Bit of a different
Again,
look.
It's a little bit of a different look, but it's still putting pressure in ways. Well, it's really going to come down to timing, you would think. I think especially with Orange is playing up at C for the first time.
No gate crash set up right now either.
Yeah, that's true.
It's all about that timing on when you decide to throw that back or kind of presence you're seeing. But this is huge. 1, absolutely misses the little corner here for Nova. And then 2, sees that no one is there, allegedly, of course. But this timing. Arya's ready for it.
Oof. Arya gets punished. Crossfire set up at the front door.
It's a great read.
Yep.
30 seconds left.
Fault line. Not available for Kestrel.
I like that
Flash
flash.
play. That's the spike. That's their spike down. Fault line's re-earned. Logic. How much more? Nothing more. And now it's on to Kestrel. Sees the head cross of 1. Timing becoming an issue. Has the ability to stall maybe a little bit with the aftershock. Still has a flash to play with as well. The aftershock's in a good spot. Zoe will fall to it. It's now you just have it to a 2v2. Rolling Thunder's at the ready. Can you get forward enough to boop them out of it? Here comes the play. Calsuchi's going to get a read. You know they're playing in the backside of the Vipers, but can you find them in time, though? Yes, you can. Just down to what timing can Nova find.
Salvos in 5.
Salvos are almost ready. 3 seconds until you have them ready to go, but you peek before it. Oh, no. And Teddy will get a 9th round.
Hey, it's a great timeout coming out from Teddy Tactics, right? We were talking about how that aggression over towards A wasn't really working as far as getting Oranges inserted on a deep line to get that positional information for the defenders, and they shift that over towards C. They opt to play those kind of more like trap stall plays on the A side instead. And with that stealth drone coming out from Calsuchi, that was the big difference maker for Teddy Tactics. That information where they saw that Evolution evacuated. They shifted over towards C. Sure, maybe there was that secret lurker in Nova, but overall, the macro read was great into that round to try and bring them a little bit closer up to Evolution.
What a turn. Is there enough in that to start to move things around a touch?
I like this play.
Me too.
You've got Arya pushed up over towards Rubble. It's comfortable for her because she has that from the shadows to reposition if really needed. And I think it's been... Oh, doesn't actually check the corner for Gabby. And they've been such a big presence in being able to maintain this main control for any quick pivots that Evolution might want to do.
Oh,
No.
Salvo lands on Arya. That's a huge mistake because now you got to leave the Viper's
He's
pit
open.
if you're Oranges. B is currently open. The Viper's pit's going to have to fall here.
Again, they're looking for that B crunch here. It's been very heavily favored for Evolution.
These showstoppers are really bad.
Okay,
Can't
they
lie.
did not know that nobody was in Broken Door that time. Let's
fine,
give
but,
them
like,
that one shift. Come
You
on,
got
that was
in.
you
You
get
got in
flashed.
the door. You got in the door. Like you didn't use it to get in the door.
They were flashed. What do you want from them? That one I give a pass. I give a pass.
All missiles away.
We'll see. 3v5. Make it 2v5.
Last player standing.
Make it 1v5. Make it none v5.
Oh.
4. And that's map point now for EVO.
Yeah, Teddy Tactics needing 3 rounds in a
Match
row
point.
here to try and take us to overtime. And it's going to be a rough go at it as well. You look at the money situation, forcing up with everything that they've got, and it's going to be a pretty broken buy here for round 22. And that was tough. The idea was there with how they were going for that positioning over towards A, with the Viper's pit on C as well. And even just like the re-clear coming out from Teddy Tactics into B main, knowing that that lurk had been so consistent from Gabby, but Gabby's own just micro decision making to be able to dodge that piece of util that would have given the necessary information over from Teddy Tactics was a massive round difference maker there for Evolution for that mid-round call.
Well, that works. That's going to be a potential weapon, although the help that's there is good. Gabby will come back to life and be fine. So, no punish in that.
There. Oh, close angle here with the button.
That
Straight
works.
to the face.
Wait, there's a chance here. Paranoia
Yeah.
cross. If you can catch another one timing-wise, maybe there's
Oh,
a
great
chance.
TP.
Back to the site. Wow, Arya. Plus a follow-up aftershock. We got a 4v2. EVO double stacked inside the dark cover, and double stacked in front of Arya, who will find 4. So, lifeline there, and what was a poor purchase in the first place. But now you have an Armageddon Armageddon ready for both. Dimensional Drift's coming back up again. I mean, there's a world here. It's just, again, like, I've really enjoyed what I've been watching with Evolution, like stretching the map and finding good success, like you mentioned a couple rounds ago, at B in particular.
Yeah, it really has been those pivots into the B crunches. And again, so much of that falling on Gabby was gathering that information for the team and being able to relay that. But Arya coming out big in that round with the 4K. The Shrouded Steps have been so fun to watch coming from her as well. But now, this is the best opportunity here for Teddy Tactics, right? They force Evolution into this half buy.
Arya just continuing to lay the lumber down. Wow. Hitting him hard. A little bit extra at the end, too.
I mean, you keep in mind, this is, we had qualification earlier. This is elimination on the line for
True.
either of these teams. Teddy Tactics, they don't want to risk taking it to a third map, and Evolution, they're playing for survival.
Logic avoids the flash. Gotta find at least one, and they do. Top follow-up
Oh
Orange
my
is
God.
great. Yep, that'll work. Okay. Flawless round comes through for Teddy. And you're going to have a Dimensional Drift coming up to try to send this thing to OT. We're not done yet.
Now, still have that Armageddon to work with here, though. And Evolution, of course, back onto the bye for this last round to either determine whether we're ending it here or if we're going over to overtime. And these adjustments from Teddy Tactics have been nice. A lot of hero plays. Arya being a big difference maker there. It was a great hold on that C site as well from Orange's Ancestral. But look at this stack that they're reading into as well. You've got 4 players postured over towards C. Flash is ready.
There's a Dimensional Drift. Info coming through. Good fault line. Good paranoia, but the counter is decent. We're going to battle for Mound. It's going to be a 1-for-1 exchange. And look at Gabby.
Just walking in.
Yep.
Been
Now,
so
you have to be
consistent.
aware of this if you're Teddy.
Logic just has to stay alive here. We've seen what they've been able to do backside, though.
Timing on this peak from Gabby's going to be everything. Arya's just able to avoid. Oh, the timing of that first blood and the free engagement is good. Gabby with the overheal. Do you expect there to be a second? Here's the challenge. Whoa, what a shot from Gabby. Now you can rotate back to B. It's just down to Arya. Been so good in the last couple of rounds, but in the face of an Armageddon, a likely salvo, a fault line. Oh, this one's tough. Just a couple of 1v1s. Don't go the way of Teddy, and it's looking like EVO's going to push us to a third map. What's the timing look like on this peak? First one's free. Dark cover out. There's the toggle. Armageddon. Oh, doesn't get away from it. Tried to get it to halfway, and we will go map number 3.
Forward.